What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another great edition of No Love Philly, the podcast dedicated to artists, activists, musicians, comedians, breweries, basically anybody in the city of Philadelphia and the surrounding area that makes this place as awesome as it is. We have got a banger for you guys today, man. We got to interview Talay and her bandmates, and we got to talk a lot of awesome stuff. But first, we have to get to our show list. This show list is sponsored by The Hook Journal. Check out thehookjournal.com to keep up to date on what's happening in the scene and even get your album reviewed by one of their many esteemed writers. The first show that we're presenting is going to be, or that we're announcing, is Slinko and McKee's, The Russells, Wild Dust, Automatic Colors, going down on the fire at Sunday, July 23rd. Then you have Slinko McKee's, Tapes and Tubes, Edward Lasher, and Michael J. Vital, going down Friday, July 28th at 7 p.m., and then you have Cazador, Shit Kill, Slinko and McKee's, Wild Dust, going down Thursday, August 3rd at Century. But there's a lot more shows. There's a whole bunch of things. You have Line Leader, Burned Out, Still Glowing, going down at Ortlieb's on Wednesday at 8 p.m. The Mushroom Cloud with Solar Circuit going down Thursday at 8 p.m. at Bourbon and Branch. You have Freaky Fun Time at the Fire Thursday at 8:30 p.m. at the Fire. You have Space Pizza, Wildflowers, Fruit and Flowers. There's a lot of flowers there. Going down at Connie's Rick Racks on Friday at 7 p.m. On July 23rd, you have Rill from California, Harvey Peaker from Ohio, going down at Broke Down Palace. You have Madam West, Secret Nudist Friends, going down at Bourbon and Branch on July 27th. You have Child Crisis Center Fatherhood Pro. Oh, no, that's not here. You have Bleeside, Haslo Correcto, going, and Downtrotter going down at New Planet. But you got to ask somebody. That's going down Saturday, July 29th. Wildflowers, The Hollows, going down at Ortlieb's on August 5th. Cellular Chaos, E-Grizzly, going down August 30th at 8 p.m. At the Pharmacy, and that is our show list. But getting back to our, and that was sponsored by thehookjournal.com. Make sure to check them out. They got lots of great content. I'm hoping to do a lot of stuff with The Hook, and I know it's something, a resource that the scene is going to love. But this time around, we catch up with Megan Talay. We check up with Zach Jones and Oscar Albies, all who play with Megan. We talk about each of their individual projects, making it as legit for real. We do not have another job musicians. We talk about Talay's latest album, how she's going into the studio for another album, her business model, her videos for Parents' House, and I Hope Your Band Goes Nowhere. We talk about reinvesting in the band, her degree. This girl's doing all the right things. And by the way, did you know that her bandmates play in the band Great Big World? I had no idea. And for those of you who don't know A Great Big World, you will when I sing "Say Something or I'm Giving." Okay, I'm not gonna ring that. I'm horrible. This is why I don't play in a band. I don't sing. I don't do much of anything except cover you guys. But yeah, they work. She works with those dudes. Anyway, we cover all that and more. This has got to be one of my favorite podcasts so far because we finally get to meet people who only do this for a living. That's it. They're musicians first, and it's not like this is their job. This is what they do full time. We get a bunch of great tips. I think that anybody listens to it be able to use some of the things that they're talking about because they're great about it. We talk about Zach Jones being on MTV when he was a kid. We just learned so much about Talay and her band and what they're doing. Make sure that you check out Talay on all social media. You need to go buy her new EP. Check her bandmate stuff out. We talk a lot about their projects. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and anything else. And make sure to like Talay and all her Instagram and all her social media and Facebook, and buy that album, man. It's such a good album. The videos are so well produced. Everything is just awesome with this group. I really feel like they get it. This is not a joke to them. This is what they want to do, and anything that we can do to support that, I want to do. I want to make sure that happens. But without any further delay, here we go. Here's our interview with Talay at World Cafe Live. And here we go. We should be gold, and I'm just going to double check. Yep, we are gold, man. Here we are. We are here at World Cafe Live. There's I guess Love Fest is going on right now.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Let you know what band you guys are in, what you guys do.
Cool. I'm Talay, Megan Talay, and this is Oscar.
I'm Oscar. I play bass with Meg.
My name is Zach Jones. I play drums with Meg.
So you guys are from New York.
Yeah.
What part of New York are you guys from?
These guys are based in Brooklyn. I basically operate out of the city, but I live in Westchester.
You live in Westchester?
In the suburbs of New York City.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so. And we met at Tralfamador as part of Good How Are You Fest.
Oh yeah, right. Good. How are you?
It's funny because it's still stuck in my head. Anytime somebody says "Good, how are you," I always immediately goes back to
That's
that
so
day.
funny.
So, you guys blowing up right now. You guys are really. It seems like it feels like you guys are blowing up.
I love that it seems like and feels that way. That's cool.
Does it feel
I
like
mean,
that for you guys?
I read this thing that Kurt Cobain was talking about how his favorite part of I know it's kind of awkward, right? I was reading this thing that Kurt Cobain was talking about how his favorite part of being in any band is the part where it's like right before they kind of blow up. It's like the excitement and like they just made a record and and that's sort of how I feel right now about this, but that's just me.
He has no comment.
What'd you say, Zach? Zach is gonna drink some seltzer.
All right. So I've got so many questions.
I love that. That's cool.
The first thing. So let's look at the video for my parents' house, right? Who directed or who did that video? Because that is amazing. I mean, that thing was so well put together.
Thanks.
No, that was.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. Well, it was my little like vision concept of like I was actually walking to a train for whatever reason, and I was listening to my own song as we do sometimes, right? Like going around the city, like this is gonna be great. What am I gonna do for this video? And I just saw myself like being quirky and just going and acting out the song and having things come into frame and out of frame, and just I envisioned it like an entire one shot, like a dance almost, where people would come in and out. But that's very difficult to like pull off. And we wanted to use more of the space of the house. So I hired a guy named Aaron Collett and a production company called Nice Bike NB Content. So they had that vision come to life, basically.
Dude, they did a wonderful job.
I think so too.
Like, I mean, I was so impressed with how well it was put together. Were those your actual parents, or was that your actual
that's
parents'
the most
house?
popular question, but no.
All right.
It was my parents' house. That's where I live. But
I think one of my favorite
That's my
scenes in
home.
that is when everybody comes together at the end for the house party or whatever.
yeah,
And
when Oscar is wearing like a leopard print coat.
And I also think it should have been sponsored by Budweiser because I felt like I very clearly saw.
Did you see a
Budweiser.
bunch of Budweiser? Oh, we didn't even think of that.
I was like, you guys should have been sponsored. I thought that.
Maybe that's you just brought up like a marketing cross promo thing that I haven't yet thought of.
I think so.
But
Speaking of marketing cross promo, I feel like you all are doing this so right.
Thanks.
In the sense that you are doing so much to reinvest for yourselves, right? Like I see like your sponsored ads. I see that you've put money into.
I guess that's good. Yeah.
It is.
It's what you have to do. If otherwise no one sees your stuff. Like you need to put your money where your mouth is, sort of.
You've put money. You hired an actual company to do that music video.
Yeah.
That they did an excellent job. How are you guys taking the proceeds from your tours or your merch sales and then reinvesting that, or where is that coming from?
It's the whole project is an investment right now, you know? Like there's some profits here and there, but they get reinvested. It's like, you know, we're recording tomorrow and recording for 4 days. So like I think it's, you know, like maybe you're talking about that little phase before you sort of catch on or whatever. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if that's something that I'm divulging, but yeah, like it's what do you call it? You're in that phase where you're putting money into the business before it, you know, has its own legs. Yeah, it's a startup and you have to be in that. I guess we're in that startup phase, you know.
So I also Facebook stalked you a little bit. And did I see this correctly? You went to school for music business?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
So you learned the ins and outs of this before even getting in.
Yeah, as much as you could learn in college, I guess, you know.
How about you guys? Do you guys have any experience in music business or are you guys just
They
jamming?
are the music business. Well, you guys have had like long careers and like, or not long, but like you've had involved careers. Zach was on MTV.
Tell me a little bit about that. Now I have to know.
Well, it's not it was not a professional sort of thing, but I was on a show called Made when I was 15 years old
no
with
shit.
my high school band.
No shit. And then,
Yeah.
so how? What would you? I want to know that experience. What happened?
Basically, the
Wait,
show.
was that P Diddy's show?
No, that was Making the Band.
Okay, all right, okay.
Made was about just like high school kids who want to achieve some sort of dream. Most of the time, it was somebody who had no experience doing the thing they wanted to do. So I think the first one was like a girl who was a math lead or something, wanted to be a cheerleader, you know. So it was more that sort of stuff usually, but in my case, we had a high school band and we just wanted some exposure, and they sort of gave us that.
So what?
Actual music business, I mean, these guys have done like you guys work.
Yeah, I mean, we I think both as Oscar and I as freelance musicians, sidemen, and producers, and doing a bunch of stuff, we just kind of like, you kind of have to be your own advocate and booking agent and lawyer and accountant, and I'm better at some of those things than others. I'm sure that you would agree. But yeah, that one's pretty low on the list. But you know, you just kind of it's a different thing when it's a band. In this particular case, it really is Meg's thing, and Oscar and I join and help as best we can and play in the band and have an amazing time. But you know, we're all kind of, all three of us, juggling a lot of things all the time because we're trying to make a living playing music, whatever that takes. And I feel very fortunate that I can do that, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo the lot of work thing. Like, I don't know about everyone else sitting at this table, but I'm usually hovering between like working with 6 to 8 bands at any given moment, even though like the number's actually probably higher. So it's like 6 to 8 bands, and then like, you know, right now I'm working on, like, me and Zach are working on like 2 or 3 records together, and then still playing gigs and stuff. So it's a lot.
Is this all you? Is this all you do? Is music all you? You're for real. No other job. How the hell did you guys make that happen? Because this is something that a lot of bands like struggle with. They're trying to figure out. You know, how did you make that happen for yourselves?
I guess it's tricky because in order to be a band, like a true band in the classic sense that we like to think of, like the Beatles, or, you know, that's the band, right? You kind of all have to be equally and completely invested. And I feel like the older you get, and for us, I think Oscar and I in particular, living in Brooklyn and having to pay Brooklyn rent, you kind of have to have some kind of income stream. And I don't know. I mean, I've just been playing with as many people as I can for as long as I could, doing recordings, doing weddings, doing whatever kind of stuff came up. And you end up with, like, if you're willing to have a really full calendar and kind of work all the time, you can scramble enough together to pay your rent. And in the process, you know, you're meeting new people and you're getting better at what you do, and hopefully the money's getting better and the gigs are getting better. And it's, you know, I mean, I've been doing it for like 10 years. You've probably been doing it, what, like a little bit longer? So, yeah, you just sort of figure it out. But you kind of, part of it is just having the resolve to not do anything else. You kind of have to consistently not get a job. as strange as that sounds, you know, like
Be
the second
constantly unemployable.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, Meg, you're in the same boat. Like, you're making a living playing music outside of Talay. So what are you doing?
Well, I mean, so like Zach mentioned, you know, I mean, the project, this is like my baby. This is my project basically, and like my tunes and whatever. And Zach and Oscar are like incredible parts of the project. But yeah, I mean, I live at my parents' house for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I guess I make a living doing other stuff, but I don't, like, in that I fund this whole project by playing wedding gigs, occasionally playing for other singer-songwriters, occasionally teaching lessons, and like here and there doing, you know, a bar gig or this and that, you know, like we all play plenty of music that are just like hit songs for, you know, for paying customers.
So
I
is
guess.
that what what I'm most curious about is so you mentioned a few of them, but what other I'm sorry, you mentioned a few of those, but what other revenue streams how else are you guys being able to survive? What gigs are you taking on that's allowing you to support yourself? I mean, you mentioned playing bars, but I'm curious for the rest of them. But what?
Well, I had a song used in an MTV show that I got $9 from. So, so one time I bought a sandwich that cost $8, and I was like, "Look at what I got!" No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I guess for me right now, it's a lot of wedding gigs and stuff. But Oscar does a ton of stuff too. Like,
What do you do?
I mean, I recently had a song on a DirecTV show a couple nights ago on a show called Kingdom, and I don't know anyone that has DirecTV, so probably no one saw it. So that probably didn't make me any money. But I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
What kind of song was it? I mean, was it?
It's I have a band called Albus, which is my middle name.
Okay.
That Zach's actually in. So it was a song from our first record.
Okay.
It's like on the Not a Surf, Elliott Smith side of stuff.
All right. Cool. So this is your project, Talay, right?
Yeah.
So how is this arranged? That you were like, hey, I've got this idea, I want to do this, and then you guys were just like, yeah, we totally support that, we're down for that, or?
well, I guess so. I've been playing like songs that I've written since I was probably like 18, like in college. First as a solo singer-songwriter, and then like hiring different bands in college. Sometimes just for splitting whatever we could make. Sometimes, I mean, like I've had like the kind of like hire my band model for a long time, sort of, because I knew I would have creative control that way. You know what I mean? Not that I really feel the need. I mean, the great thing about playing with you guys, playing with this band, is that like this is like basically the only time that I've been able to be like, not say, don't do that. Or like, can you not play that fill there, drummer guy? You know what I mean? So it's awesome. But at the same time, it's like, technically, I think a big thing in this type of model is that if I'm the writer and I have like kind of the most to gain by the record taking off, you know what I mean? Like if somebody were to purchase, if Parents' House was a smash hit and everyone was buying it, I'd be getting all the publishing royalties and stuff. So it's important that like all the gigs are like worth the Oscar and Zach's time. You know what I mean? Like, and how, so that's the model. I mean, I've played with a bunch of other people, started playing with Zach, I started playing with Oscar after that. You know what I mean? It just fell into place.
So that's so new to me. I've never heard of that. Well, I guess I've never been cognitive.
It's demystifying that process.
Right,
I mean, a lot of people don't have that process. There's plenty of bands that are like, oh, well, my bands we're just like best friends and nobody pays it. And I was like, all right, fine, but like, we're buds too, but like we're pro musicians or whatever. So,
dude, that's fucking awesome. Like that is such a.
Do you guys want to comment on that or not?
I mean, sure. Like, you know, I spent a lot of my my time in high school and college playing in bands that were like friends playing music together. But I went to school for music and wanted to do this professionally, and eventually fell into a circle of like really awesome musicians that were also really great people. And that's sort of the circle that we're working out of now. And, you know, we all play in each other's bands. We all take care of each other the best we can. And I'm really happy with the community that we've kind of carved out for ourselves. It's really great. I don't know if Zach wants to add anything to that.
I was thinking about this recently, that music is, I think, maybe the only job, other than we were talking about acting today, it's maybe the only job where people will make you feel like a dick for wanting to make money for doing your job.
I hear you, yeah.
And I think that is really unfortunate. And I think that the impression that because I need to make a living doing this, that somehow means that I care less about the music that I'm playing, or that we're not friends, or that we don't all feel invested in the music that we're working on. I want to be able to invest more of my time into what I'm doing. So I need to take care of pesky things like paying my bills and having health insurance and stuff like that. And because we're able to spend all of our time playing music, we've gotten better at playing music. And I think that's the line where it's like, being a professional player is, I'm not saying it's necessarily better, but it's enabled us all to get much better at our craft.
That's pretty much, I mean, that's one of the defining things about, like, I've played and I do still play, like, certain times when you guys can't make it or whatever. I'll play with certain people that, don't necessarily do it full time, and that's okay and that's fine. But there's a difference, you know what I mean? You can tell. And that's why, it's when you said, like, oh, just because I want to make money, someone thinks that you're not doing it for the right reasons. Like, I've had people say that to me sometimes, or like, oh, well, I know you're not doing it for the money or whatever. Or somebody said that to me, or they were like, wow, that's really great. I was like, yeah, I mean, I do. I hope it takes off or whatever. Because I'm not satisfied with where we're at. Like, I love the fact that, like, I really do kind of try and make it really look like it's popping off. And to people who it's popping off to, it is. But it's not like, I'm not making money from parents' house. You know what I mean? I'm not making
You're
whatever.
so fucking close. Like, I
Thanks,
feel,
man.
yeah,
And I'm going to
dude.
hold on because
Yeah,
people
dude.
keep saying stuff
Yeah,
like that.
dude, don't
But
fucking stop. You were
no, thank
so
you,
close.
thank you. But I guess what I was saying is that, like, for somebody to be like, well, I know you're not in it for the money. I'm like, of course I am. I want to be able to not live in my parents' house, and it's not for the sake of. It's not like you do it for the money to be rich and famous. You do it for the money so that you don't have to work anywhere else. You do it for the money because you want to be able to just do that. Yeah.
Dude, that's so. My next big question was in this this vein of doing. How did you know when to start charging for gigs, or how did you know when to start charging for, and how much? Because I would imagine that'd be something that other musicians listening to this would also have, like, a question about. How did you know when to charge and how much to charge?
That's interesting. As a more of a singer-songwriter type of person who takes the gigs when I can get, and a lot of times plays for free because I'm exposing my own material, like, I feel like I have less to say, so maybe you guys want to kick that off. You know what I mean? Like, I get paid as a side person, and I guess I have always charged for that because I don't want to be a side person, so it's always like,
Fucking
people
hit me.
who have ever done that, they know that I'm that way, so they'll just be like, I'll give you $80, play my gig, and I'm like, sure, or, I mean, that was like, whatever.
Can you repeat the question? Actually?
Yeah, so I guess my question is, as you guys are coming up and everything, and you've all decided this is what I want to do this for a living, right? How did you know when to start charging and how much to charge?
In terms of when, I mean, I said I was in bands in high school and whatever, but I also worked at, like, I played organ and piano and guitar at churches, and, like, I did cocktail hours and stuff in high school. So, I mean, I was trying to already, like, work it as a musician as early as then, and then that just continued up until now through college and everything. And then in terms of how much, just from playing gigs and finding out that you're not charging enough, or getting turned down because you're asking for too much money. Just trial and error. And I think the crazy thing, though, is that, like, just the way the music industry is, and living in New York City, like, I can't remember whoever our friends was telling us this, but, like, basically the rates for session musicians hasn't gone up since, like, the 1970s.
That sounds like it makes sense to me in a crazy way.
It's totally insane, but at the same time, like, I know what some artists, like, make in terms of, like, their day jobs or, like, whatever they can budget to pay people, and, like, so that makes sense to me that, like, the rate hasn't gone up. But I don't know, it's pretty difficult, and I just feel like in the last, like, five years or so, I've fallen into a thing where it's like I'm working a lot, getting paid, what I think I'm worth, and enjoying all the work that I'm doing, so.
Yeah, it's I mean, I would echo what he said about when I started making a living, because I was the same way. I played musical theater since I was, like, I think I was 10 or 11 when I got a paycheck to play drums in an orchestra. So I just knew from a young age, and also my dad's a musician, his dad was a musician.
Ah, got it.
I
All
sort
right.
of knew from a long time ago that it's like, yeah,
But
and
it's
it's a
a
legitimate
possibility.
line of work, and that you can and should ask to get paid for it.
And it's just like mowing lawns. It's like you don't want to sell yourself short in anything that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You wouldn't mow somebody's lawns for free.
Well, right.
And so
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. No, you'd be a really stupid lawnmower
yeah.
to do that all. I mean, to do it all the time. If you had just started mowing lawns and you were trying to get your name out, maybe that's something you would do. I don't know. I'm saying. And Oscar and I also each do the singer-songwriter thing, and we are the same way with, like, if somebody asks me to come play my songs, I'm probably just going to do it.
Right. Hey,
Because
congratulations, by the way, the direct TV thing. I didn't say that, but I meant
Oh, yeah.
congratulations on
That's
that.
rad.
So, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
But, like, I think he and I each have some kind of, like, I'll call them, like, fence post sort of gigs that are sort of reliable, and they pay a certain amount of money that we can count on. Well, I don't know. I like Oscar and I tour in a band together that's on a major label, and there's like there's
what?
things like that.
All right, we'll get to that next. But go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But it's just that sort of stuff that wedding gigs, those kind of things that like are maybe pay a little more than playing with a singer-songwriter or something.
So it's quite possible that your favorite artist is also a wedding gig singer, right?
Oh, it's not. It's not unlikely, but it's also, I mean, maybe your favorite indie band works sometimes doing that sort of stuff.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what band are you two in that's on a major label? I don't.
A Great Big World.
Okay, never heard of you.
They're
Sorry.
on. No, it's okay.
If you go, because I do this a lot. And they're like, no, I've never heard of Great Big World. And I'm like, say something, I'm giving up on you.
Shut the
And then that
fuck up.
I mean, we're not on that song, but we're in the band.
Okay. Wow.
We're on that album, but not on that song.
What in the hell? And yet you guys are still playing basement shows. Wow, man, that is amazing. You would never. No, so you guys go on tour and you guys play that. That is fucking wild, bro.
I mean, sorry, I definitely want to jump in on this one. Like, I really appreciate what being in Great Big World has given me in a lot of ways, because like I did the basement thing for so long, and I still love it, and I still want to do it, and it's like a fun thing for me to do. But it's also like, like we have our moments on the bus where it's like, holy shit, we're like on a tour bus, like doing the rock and roll thing. But it doesn't mean that like that doesn't discount the basement thing for me at all. Like I still want to do that.
I think, as from my perspective, it's just awesome to think that all right, here's the thing, man. I'm from El Paso, Texas. This is new to me, right?
It's the home of At the Drive-In.
Right. You know it, dude. So like yes, I've interviewed Jim Ward from Sparta. He actually owns a place out there in El Paso called Tricky Falls. It's a venue. That's a whole other discussion we'll have to get into another time. My life is not relevant here. But what I wanted, from my perspective, is what's so awesome about it is that I come to Philadelphia, and I've been doing music journalism forever, but I get to go down and I get to see like. I uncover, right, this basement venue scene. But you would never in a million years, you pass through Philadelphia and you don't realize that there's some Grammy Award musicians there, or that help Grammy Award musicians, right, or that are signed to a major label. But it is 100% likely that somebody is playing in a basement downstairs, and you could see one of those musicians who's on a tour bus actually in a basement. And then I come here and it's like, okay, and then you meet Talay, and it's like she's coming up and she's doing this whole thing. And you're like taking off, and it's just this weird, like, I can't believe this stuff actually exists. You know what I mean? Like,
it does surprise people, I feel like, to say certain things like, oh yeah, like, well, like, I'll out you. Zach has played with Sting.
What?
Like, you, just like, it's the world of music and professional music is like, I mean, I was just, remember I was telling you guys about my conversation with this other band I played with, like Subs, yesterday. I went up to New Paltz and played a show, and we were chatting about music the whole time, because it was a drummer who teaches and plays gigs, and the three of us we're in like wedding season now, hardcore, so like we're all playing weddings, and like it's actually crazy right now. It's a Saturday in the summer, and like nobody has a wedding gig, but it's 4th of July weekend. But my friend Kenny, we were just talking about all the ways that you can make money in music, and like I think he just took a lesson with this guy named Stu who plays bass for Modest Yahoo, and like, do you know that guy or maybe?
Yeah,
or, I
of
don't
course. Yeah.
know. But he's like, you would never know who that person is, right? Like that guy, like Stu, you know, the bass player from Modest Yahoo,
Right,
but he's
right.
got a great living and this and that. Or like my friend Kenny, who I was just coming up, we played in New Paltz at a bar for like college kids, and he has credits on a Demi Lovato track he played bass on. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like people think, like I played actually one time, you guys know Joe Bonadio? I played with him on drums when Kenny Shaw couldn't make a gig. Yeah.
What?
He was like, this other drummer that I used to play with, he was like, oh my God, Megan, I'm so sorry. I can't do this gig, but I have a sub. He can do the rehearsal. He can do the gig. He might charge you a little bit more, but I'll pay the difference. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I got it, and thanks. He was great. This guy is named Joe Bonadio. He had played on Mark Cohen's Walkin' in Memphis. That's his drum track. And he had toured with Sting for a long time, I think. And I remember said at rehearsal, he was like, yeah, like people think, oh, you've played with Sting, you don't need their gigs anymore. And he played with me at like a small venue in New York City called Rockwood. That's Rockwood 1. He wore like a hooded sweatshirt. I was like, what are you doing?
I'm going to share this anecdote just because you already brought it up, because I think this illustrates things nicely. I got to play on The Tonight Show with Sting. And the next night, I mean, that was like dream come true, all time, wow, playing on Fallon with one of my heroes. And then the next night, I played with my band at this brewery in Queens and got yelled at by the owner of the brewery for sound checking.
How dare you?
And he and I got into this, I won't mention the name, but he and I got into this like big blowout fight, and it was like, it's just, I've had a few of those experiences of like the highest high and then an almost absurd low 24 hours later. And that's kind of like, you can either choose to be really dejected by that, or it's just like, well, I made $100 that night, and then I did something else the next night, and then hopefully Sting calls again, or hopefully some, you know, like that's how it is. And that's, for me, that's okay, and that's fun. And I consider myself a lifer, so I'm doing this. This is what I do, and it will be that way forever. And so I just kind of ride the wave and try to find people whose music excites me and moves me, and who I want to get on board with, and you know, help them make the best stuff they can. And I don't know, that's
Be on a tour bus someday.
Yeah.
exactly.
So what I'd say is, first of all, that was super. That's what I'm hearing from you all is super inspiring. Not just like for anybody who's listening, obviously, that's a musician and wants to make an actual career out of this, right? Super inspiring there. But me as a journalist, I mean, I did it for 15 years, and then I stopped for a couple years, and now I'm kind of coming back with, you know, doing it again with this podcast. But it's just one of those things like, holy shit, man, why should I sell myself short? Why not just keep going and find a different avenue and just keep hitting it? Because that's what it seems like you guys have been doing, is just keeping at it, right? All right. I came here with a whole bunch of questions. I promised to God I did, and now it just kind of got like thrown off track with all these other things, which I'm so happy about. But
It's the best way sometimes.
it is. Now I'm going to have to go back to generic journalist mode, which I hate, but I feel like they're relevant questions that need to be asked. I hope your band does nothing. Dude, I didn't know. All right, so when I listened to it, I was like, shit, this is either going one of two ways. It's either some asshole that told this chick, like, I really hope your band does nothing, you're not going to do shit, or somebody...
It's me being the asshole.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
And telling the other asshole.
So, yeah, what is the kind of inspiration behind that? And you just released a video for that.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to get too specific. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, the inspiration was like a dude who... How should I get so specific? Yeah, it was like a breakup song. It's a breakup song, you know, for with a guy in a band. And
Was it the drummer?
You know, it wasn't.
Okay, that's a
That
different...
one's the guitar player.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I have two songs about two different drummers. That one's about a guitar player.
All right.
And it was just funny, you know? Like, I don't hope his band goes nowhere. I help them book shows. Like, we are still cordial. I still don't think he knows it's about him.
Oh.
So that's cool, I guess. Yeah.
So you had a whole bunch of different bands in that video.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
So tell me about like putting that whole video together.
Well, it was a friend of mine who actually works for the production company that I hired for Parents' House, who had the idea and was just like, why don't you get a bunch of different bands in the room? And it just was obvious that was like, oh yeah, that's just funny. Like, and just have them doing crazy stuff, like ripping up their own band t-shirt, which happens, and like smashing their instruments and just going insane. So I just put the call out to like a lot of bands that I knew. And luckily, like Oscar mentioned, the like community in New York is like way supportive. It's like better, I think, than people might assume like a New York music scene would be. And at least the people that I've come in contact with, and they're at least supporters of my stuff and friends of mine, that they're like, hell yeah, and they know that song because I've been playing it for like a year or two or something, and they just want to come in and have fun, and
I think one of my funniest, one of the funniest things for me was the cute couple. I guess that they're bandmates or whatever, but they're kissing behind you, and you're like, like,
yeah. I'm so glad. I'm gonna tell them that you said that.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
those are my friend Bobby and Joanne, and they're in a band called Pink Wing, and they're like a husband and wife couple. And we kind of just wanted everybody to have like all the bands has like an inherent shtick, sort of. Like there's twin sisters that actually Oscar plays in their live band called Nalani and Serena. And they have a moment where they're screaming at each other like, all your likes are from your mom. And they have the same mom, which is kind of, if you get it, then you get that joke, and it's funny. If you know that about them. Yeah, and then we had like this band called Taking Meds that are like a proggy rock band that tour around a lot. And they just went like crazy, and that was the dude who's like playing drums with the pretzels on the drumsticks. It just became like how much absurd stuff.
The face paint.
That's the Muckrakers.
Okay,
they're cool too. I knew about. Actually, I had never met him before that video. He kind of like found me on Instagram and tried to. He asked my band to play this festival last summer, and then like talk about like working musician sort of problems. I got an offer to play guitar for somebody else that was like a very good offer that I just took and kind of forewent. Is that a thing? Forewent? I had to forego the festival.
Sounds so Shakespearean almost.
I know, right? Hey man. I was like, is that a time warning? No, we got time.
Okay.
But anyway, what I was saying is that was the Muckrakers, and then we became online friends, sort of. Like he tried, I was gonna play his festival. I didn't play his festival. We were just Facebook friends, and I knew his band was cool, and they had a really cool look, and they had a cool vibe, and I was like, do you want to be in this video? And he had kind of just been into my music, or Kyler, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. So
Dude, it was awesome how well that thing came together.
Thank
it was
you.
such a fun video, and I also cannot, like I said, I cannot stress enough. And I think that it probably has a lot to do. I could be wrong. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you went to music school business.
Music business school.
Yeah, you're gonna have to correct me on that. Yeah, but music business.
I have a music business degree.
Right. So, it's the attitude of that that this is what you want to do. All of you, that that this is what you want to do, and so you're
right. Like I'm not approaching it like it's a hobby or like
exactly right.
Or certainly none of us are.
And I think that's probably one of the things. I think that for other bands that may be listening to it, one of the biggest things holding them back is not being willing to take that step and say, this is what I am going to do. But I think where you're doing it right, aside from your awesome music, is that you constantly, I can't stress it enough, just reinvesting in yourself.
Yeah.
Just constantly, yes, I'm going to pay for this music video. Yes, I'm going to pay for these ads. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm going to release this new album, which was the next question I was going to get to. Tell me all about that.
Oh,
I want to know.
I think we were all pretty stoked. We could talk about that because, like, we just spent, like, a car ride, like, half of our car ride listening to stuff like, let's make this track sound like this, and let's make this track sound like that, and like picking the new songs. So we have 4 days in the studio coming up, literally starting tomorrow. So we're doing the next 4 days, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. No, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yes.
Wait, I'm confused. Are you kicking off? Aren't you just now releasing an album?
Yeah. Oh, you mean that album?
Oh,
you want to talk about that one? Why did I immediately think it was the new one?
No,
that we were talking about.
Wait. Hold on.
Because we're a site!
Right.
Yeah, I did just put out an EP. Those tracks have been done for a while. But yeah, let's talk about that one because people should buy it. People should go and buy it.
So, as a matter of fact, where do you buy it right now? Where do people get it?
iTunes and Spotify.
Okay.
Talay. It looks like Talay or Talay. You don't
I saw
confuse
your
me
video-
with
I saw your
this
video on that.
rapper named Talay.
I looked
So
at
just-
that too. I clicked on that. I was like, this is not her.
Not me, no. But I'm verified and he's not. So booyah.
Booyah.
Not that means anything. But yeah, you can search. If you search Talay Parents House, I will come up
Right.
because he doesn't have a song called Parents House. Yeah. So yeah, it's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's on Bandcamp. You know, I would love for people to continue to check that album out because I think it's cool. I think it's, you know, the songs I'm super proud of. Zach co-produced Parents House and Hope Your Van Goes Nowhere. And then I worked on the other 3 songs with my friend Greg Mayo, who is amazing, and we worked at his studio.
So did you just release that, or
It is in the early June, so it's just about exactly a month ago.
okay? So just a month ago, you released an EP,
Yeah.
and now you're going in the studio to work on some new stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'm excited about it. The songs are what do you want to know about it?
Well, I guess so. Everybody's already kind of okay. Going back to the latest EP that you just released. What 5 songs are there?
It's called there's Parents House, Drummer of the Band, Hope Your Band Goes Nowhere, City, and Miami Take Me Home.
Okay. All right, and then so this next, are you already the songs that you're laying the tracks that you're gonna lay down in the studio tomorrow?
Yeah.
Are you already playing those out on tour right now?
2 of the 4, yeah. 2 of the 4, the other 2 are totally new and just something that I've never done before, is to go into the studio and literally just like one of them needs to be even like shaped and finished, but that's a really fun prospect for me to like come in. And I think for all of us, we're going to have fun like arranging like these new songs that we haven't road tested yet. I've never done that. I'm used to playing a song for like about a year almost, or at least 6 months before I ever track it. But now I have 2 completely new ones. So that's cool. But yeah, I'm still absolutely playing the Talay EP, the self-titled EP, on the road a lot and still pushing that at shows and stuff like that.
And you have work before that, right?
I had an EP called Piece by Piece, which was very folky.
It was.
And I don't play. Oh, did you listen to it a little?
Well, what I did is I saw the video for
Underside. Cool.
And I dug it.
Oh, thanks.
That I was like, well, it's well
it's
put together.
Cool. Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what I mean?
different vibe. It's like I kind of found a more suited niche for myself with this stuff.
So
it's funny because every now and then somebody will be like, "Oh, I really miss your old stuff. Or I really like your old stuff," and that's cool. But then I'm like, well, that's not really what I want to do.
Are you kind of going for like the pop star? Is that or
I thought at one point I was actually. I'm not sure I am.
I feel like
Drummer
you
of the
did.
Band and like Parents House, I feel them as pretty poppy songs, pretty sensible, pretty pop sensibility type tunes. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth going for something anymore. You know what I mean? Like
just doing what you do, huh?
Yeah, and just seeing where it falls.
All right. 10 years experience, you said, right? 10 years experience kind of doing the right more. We didn't go more, right? How long have you been doing this professionally?
Well, I probably
How long
made
have you been
money.
chasing this? Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, I guess I've been playing guitar since I was like 12 and playing in bands since I was like 15 and made my first sort of like, you know, paying gig when I was like 19 or something.
Wow, okay.
In college, and I'm 25, so like I don't know, however that math adds up. And then I released my first, you know, EP, you know, under Talay with my like own original music that I produced and put money into my own, you know what I mean? Like I guess in 2015, and then this EP was 2017. Now that I put out the self-titled, and I like to kind of be like, wow, why aren't I famous yet? To like these guys. And Zach constantly reminds me, and both of you guys, that like, well, it sort of feels like year one or day one for this project because the first EP is so different, and like this band is like kind of where it's at and where I want to take things. So I don't know. There's a lot of answers to how long have you been doing this, I guess is what I'm saying.
So when you get the why aren't I famous yet, right?
Yeah.
And you reach these guys for some advice. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what is, I don't want to say secret, but what advice do you guys have for somebody who's wanting to make it, that somebody that really wants to take it as serious as you guys do, and they're maybe not feeling that, they're having that wham moment. What advice do you have for them?
Wow, here we'll do role play.
That's actually a tough one to answer, I think. I know for me, like, if I ever get frustrated professionally or creatively, like, I have to remind myself that, like, I'm still playing music and working in music, and that's, like, a pretty special and rare thing. And something my therapist pointed out to me the other day was that, like, my parents are very supportive and in terms of, like, paying for lessons and that kind of stuff. But, when it was time to, like, because I went to NYU and you had to pick a major before you attended, and I was going to do music. And so you're committing to music from freshman year on. And there's a lot of reservation in my family about that. And my therapist was just like, but you're so resilient. Like,
There was a lot of what in your family? Trepidation?
I guess resistance to me doing music.
Really? You're going to major in music?
Yeah. But my therapist was like, despite all that, like, you still kind of, like, just really stuck with it and were persistent. And so I guess, I guess you have to ask yourself, like, why you're doing this, if you truly want to be doing it, and if you're going to be okay doing this even when it's not glamorous or successful. And I think it's also about defining what success means to you, which I've been trying to do just in general as of late. And I actually feel much happier now that I've been doing that.
What is it?
I'm sorry, say it again.
What is your idea of success?
Currently,
what is making it to you? What is
currently
success?
it's working on music, working on good music, with good people, and making a living doing it.
Awesome. Advice.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I think I agree, just with the idea that making it can mean so many different things to so many different people. I think the model that we grew up with, like, idealizing and chasing, and the kind of people that we put up on our bedroom walls, that doesn't really seem to be a thing anymore. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think the good part of it is that you can make your music and share your music and survive at many different levels now. And I think that that's really great. I think, like, I'm inspired by people like David Bazan, a guy named Mike Viola, who's a big hero of mine. Just people who are resilient. I think that's the biggest thing. If this isn't what you eat and sleep and breathe, and you're willing to sacrifice a lot of other comforts to do it, then I think you're going to get frustrated a lot more easily. But if you really find joy in the process and in making music, like Oscar said, making good stuff with good people, if you can really find the happiness in that, and be thankful that you're able to survive and pay your bills, then I think that's I'm sort of there too right now with that. That's making it for me. I think we all want to do better and stress a little less about paying the rent and things like that. But that's sort of the idea.
Sorry. The only other thing I want to add, I was just thinking about this. I think it's also important to take stock of where you're currently at and try to be realistic about, like, and also, not be afraid to congratulate yourself, which is, like, I think most creative people have, like, low self-esteem, and so it's hard for us to, like, be like, oh, that was a good thing that I did. But, something, me and Zach have been making a lot of records lately at the studio, where I'm a tenant, and, like, I leave there with so much pride every day I work there, because I'm just like, oh my God, like, 15-year-old me, like, would never, like, this was my dream, and now here I am at a studio, I'm, like, engineering, and I'm playing guitar, and, it's like, it's really incredible. Or, like, I'm on a tour bus listening to Take It to the Limit and, like, living out that rock and roll dream. Or I'm in a basement in Philly and, like, having a blast. Like, it's really important to take stock of that and, like, and be happy with it. Because otherwise, what's the point?
Wow moment. Okay. So wow moment. What
What do we?
your wham moment, right?
Oh,
so
what
when you
my
get
wham moment.
When you get your wham moment, is there anything that you end up saying to yourself to kind of bring yourself back up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of like thinking or like placing my self on in the context of like, of a potential career and sort of trying to see myself at the beginning of it as opposed to like, I mean, obviously I haven't been doing it as long as nearly as a lot of people in New York, a lot of people that I'm around, but I can be like, okay, yeah, I've been playing my own shows for a while, but like 7 years or something like that. But I just try and still look at it as the very beginning of me taking stuff seriously and investing in it. Yeah, I mean, I do really relate to the whole trying to congratulate yourself and be like, there's something good about this. I really lean on something actually interesting that I wish I did more, but kind of started to do a little bit, was to collect like an intentional, collection of positive feedback that you get from people. I listened to this audiobook called Unmistakable, which was very interesting. It was about like, how do you not just be the best, but just be the most you that you can be? That's where you're going to... Don't be the best anything. Be the only something. And that's where you're going to be successful, is just do your thing really, really well. And one of the things that author sort of prescribed was to create like a list, a document, a place where you literally can go to get just like a positive feedback loop, sort of, because there's so much feedback. And it's easy for me, like, you deal with rejection a lot. One of my teachers used to be like, if you want to be a musician, you want to be a singer-songwriter, learn to metabolize rejection fast, because it does take a while to metabolize, and I'm trying to get better at it. It's the same thing in like relationships. There's the same thing like in you can't make yourself stop being disappointed by things that don't work out, but you can try and get over them a little bit faster, or like take stuff in stride and focus on, like I will screenshot if my friends, I had a lot of good feedback from the Parents House video, like people just texting me like, holy shit, you know what I mean? So I've screenshotted that stuff and put it in one place. I don't do it enough. I only have like 3 things in that, or like someone sends me back an email, like a random person at a bar that like had 5 people at it that I thought, well, that show was a bust, will email me because they took my card and say, I really loved it, and maybe I'll come and see you guys when you come through Philadelphia. And I'm like, I mean, I almost feel like crying sometimes, literally, when I get like those little pieces of feedback, because I'm like, that person just went out of their way, like, to be like, hey, I saw you at Greenpoint Gallery. You were the cool with the cool sneakers. Like, I loved your band. Like, whatever, Like, that's pretty, I don't know. It is what I do, I guess, in the wah moment. It's what I try and think about doing, is lean on the wonderful people who are saying things like, can you sign my CD? Or like, wow, Meg, like, you got to keep going. Like, it's, you're doing good. You're doing the right things, or whatever.
You really do have to. I love that you said that you have to acknowledge those micro wins.
Congratulate yourself.
Yeah. So I know that you guys are super busy. You guys got a lot going on. Please feel free to take this time to promote anything that you have going on right now, and any of your bands, whatever is something you want to publicize. Or
sure. I mean, we've already touched on my stuff.
Get the album on iTunes.
Get the album on iTunes. Get it on Spotify.
Check out the video. Like the page.
Yeah.
Do all
Instagram,
this stuff, right?
All of it.
Check out both videos. Share it.
Yeah, and I've got tour dates coming up, so I don't know if your listeners are probably mostly in Philly, right?
Yeah, well, I'm actually noticing that it's branching out everywhere.
Oh, cool.
Like, I'm getting, like, when I look at the geographics, it's like hitting Jersey. It's hitting hitting further out in Philly. It's hitting Baltimore.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, dude. So like,
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that. So
Right.
go ahead.
Well, I mean, I have some tour dates like up in the Northeast coming up in the summer, but nothing. Unfortunately, I had a Philly show fall through for the end of July, but I'll be back at some point, I'm sure, soon. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on.
Anything else you guys would like to add?
Sure. I mean, I mentioned my band Albus, and currently I'm mixing the latest record. I got a couple records out on Bandcamp and Spotify. You can go to albusbandcamp.com. It's
How do you spell it? Yeah.
ALBIS.
Okay. B like AL, B like boy, IS.
Exactly.
All right.
And then and before I hand over to Zach, also like I guess I want to promote the whole studio thing that we've been doing, because like right now Zach and I are producing a record with our friend Jesse, who's the drummer in Jukebox the Ghost. He has a project called Jesse Dylan and the Scaredy Cats. And it's really great. It's like Bob Dylan meets like the Replacements and the Ramones. And so we're working on that. We're also working on a kids record with this band, The Buttons. That's really, really great. Yeah, we just want to keep making more records because we're having a good time doing that.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment, and also my group is called Zach Jones, Z-A-C-H Jones, and the Tricky Bits. Oscar plays guitar in that band. And we have an EP out called Rendezvous with a Comet and a single called Great Again, and a video for that song that you can check out. And yeah, I'm proud of that stuff. I'm Zach Jones Music on Instagram and Twitter. And I put up a lot of stuff there about what we're working on, new records and shows, and follow Talay because there will be lots of new music soon, and we're psyched about it.
Dude, I'm psyched too, man. Thank you all
Thanks, Shane.
so much for sharing all this information, for taking this interview, for sharing all this information. I wish you the best of success, all of you. Just keep doing what you're doing, man, because you're almost fucking there. Like I feel it in my bones, right?
Hey, we're somewhere, right? We're
You're-
already where we are.
You're so close, man, and you guys are doing awesome. And thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Shane.
And if you guys ever need anything from any of your bands, from me in the future, please don't hesitate to
Thanks.
reach out. You guys definitely have a friend here. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. All right. Thank you. You guys have a wonderful show tonight.
Thank you so much.
You bet.